In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Lois Linton, we're here in the stands. Lois, you've been to a lot of football games here. Let's go through the teams that you've watched play home games in this stadium. The Cardinals, you've watched the Cardinals.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear anything. That's how crazy it is. You watched the Cardinals play here. You watched the Rams play here.
Yes.
You watched the Battlehawks for the second time. How excited are you to see this football team here again today?
It's beyond words. I mean, it's taken so long because of all the lockdowns and everything. It's way past time.
What's different about this team this time around?
I think they're more devoted than they ever were because they've had that abstinence, you know, and they're hot and ready, and they're going to bring us a winner.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to this edition of the XFL show. You can't hear me? You can't hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah, like this is what I'm doing. You know, Mrs. Dirty.
Hey,
you
sir.
see, Dirty's without his hat.
No. You're not even supposed to be here. What are you doing?
You know, listen. Dirty's been doing a lot of stuff over the past few weeks. You know, with the XFL and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, like pissing off the whole Battlehawk fan base. Like, what the hell?
Look, it's like this. You know, here in St. Louis, we let people live in our heads rent free. Just like the entire Battlehawk fans, they let Stan Kroenke live in their heads rent free. Just like I let somebody here in St. Louis live in my head rent free.
Well, you know what?
That's beside the point.
You know
but here,
what,
I mean, look, I'm going to show you what Mrs. Dirty's got dirty doing, right?
Yeah, exactly, man.
I had a tree cut down, right? Okay. So I had some trees cut down, and Dirty's been
doing
lazy.
Yard work in the middle of the show.
Well, listen, bro. When Mrs. Dirty speaks, you know Dirty jumps. So, like right here, right behind me is my pile of tree branches I got to clean up.
You got work to do, is what you got to do. You have work to do,
Andrew, it was great meeting you. But listen, I gotta say this before I go, Arlington, because I know you have a special co-host today with you. Which is going to be interesting. But I'm going to leave that.
We know that, man. We know that he's definitely an unprofessional idiot. We know that.
Yes, I am. Hey, listen, Mrs. Dirty says, "Hey, Dirty, jump." I say, "Yes, ma'am. How high do you need me to jump?" Which isn't very high because of my belly, as you saw with the U and the Lou. But besides the point, okay. So I'm at the game. You know, I've been to a few different games, right?
Correct.
I have to say this, Arlington, and on Thursday we're going to fill out the Battlehawks fan survey, right?
Yeah.
And here, yeah, see, like right here, stop the Kroenke shit. I agree. I mean, he lives in the head for rent free in St. Louis. I mean, listen, he never lied to us. That's the biggest misconception. He never lied. I told people when he took over the team in 2015, he was moving them outside of St. Louis once the lease was over. When did he buy the league? When did he buy the team?
He bought the team in 2008.
Right, and I told everybody in Arlington, remember, and I said, and the good doctor can vouch. I said, now that Kroenke owns this team, the Rams are out of here when the lease is up in 2015. What happened, Arlington? What did he do?
All right, whatever.
Right. So he never lied. He said he was not wanting to stay in St. Louis. So listen, so we got to get over the Kroenke stuff. I get it. You guys want to do it. That's cool. But now now we are the laugh. Thank you to the St. Louis fan base. We are now the laughing stock. We are now the laughing stock of the XFL fan base. Believe it or not. And Andrew, I hope the Kroenke champs fade out. I really do. We are now the laughing stock because we can't get over that a guy went from being an $100 million team to a $2 billion franchise overnight, right? So as you see that I posted all over Twitter, let it go, get Kroenke out of your head. But I can't get the guy in St. Louis that I let live in my head rent-free out of my head. So I got to let it go. But, that's beside the point. Ronnie Bound, it is true. It really is true. Listen, Ronnie, let me ask you a question. If somebody came to you and said, hey, you're worth $800 million now, overnight I can make you worth $2 billion, what are you doing? Arlington, what are you doing?
Always talk about that, dog. Come on, man. Goodbye, dog.
Hold on. So before I go, listen, I'm going to talk more about it on Thursday, but I will tell you this. The fan experience in St. Louis, terrible compared to the other fan experience.
Goodbye. All right. I knew he was going to do that. I got my co-host with me, Amanda, today. What's going on, Amanda? Good afternoon to you.
Hey, you can't kick me out just yet. Hold on. Let me finish what I got to say.
Wait a minute. How you get back on? We locked the door.
Let me finish what I have to say, right?
We locked the door and you keep opening.
Hold on. The Battlehawks did win, and you ready? In 2 weeks, when the Brahmas and the Battlehawks play, or is it? No, that's next week, right? Brahmas and Battlehawk play, right? Mark Dirty's word.
No.
In 2 weeks? When do they play
at
home?
Talking about the Roughnecks.
No. I'm talking about when the Battlehawks and the Brahmas both play at home.
Oh, that is next week.
That next week?
Yeah.
Mark my words. Those two franchises alone will bring 60,000 people to the stadium. All right. Other than that, let it go. Let Kroenke go. I'll let the guy that lives in my head rent-free go.
Bye. Thank you very much. Sheesh.
He is a mess.
He can't help himself.
No.
Man, I ain't never seen.
Look,
Dude!
I can get back in. How did that happen?
Come on, man. Jesus.
He cannot
Can't help
handle
himself, man.
somebody
He just cannot
taking
help
his
himself.
spot today.
I tried, man. I keep trying, man. Booting him off. And it just keep coming back on like a little spirited, like a little rat, man. It just keep on nibbling. You know how they nibble and stuff and be able to enter in like small, like little sneaky ways. I closed everything and he's still getting back in, man. It's ridiculous. This is what I have to deal with on a weekly basis. Good grief. All right, listen. How did he find his way back in? Oh, that's me. I'm sorry. All right, y'all. Hey, this is the X-Man show. We finally got that Joker out of the way. And he did say he was going to be listening in, so whatever. But yeah. Hey, great week this week. I know everybody was up in arms in St. Louis, but hey, man, chill out. It's okay. Battlehawks are winning. They won 24-11 this past week. Great win. AJ McCarron, 20 of 27, had a couple of touchdown passes, ill-advised interception, but hey, that's okay. All right. What was you thinking about when you were at the game, Amanda? So what was your thoughts about it when you saw it?
I mean, we had a couple interceptions from them too, so.
That's correct. 3, as a matter of fact. As a matter of fact, Kyle Slaughter had 3 interceptions in the game. So yeah, I'm looking at it right now, man. Look, it's a good place for St. Louis. St. Louis is 3-1. Remember, back in 2020, they were 3-1. And the next game that they were going up against is those pesky DC defenders.
We're about to have the same record as them after next week.
Dude, how you keep getting back in?
Hold on. One more thing before I go. The Brahmas have the best fan base. Thank you. Bye.
God.
Bro, you're not going to kick me out this time?
Every time I do that, you keep coming back on.
Every time I do that. You next time come back on, you put a hat on. Looking a mess.
This is what I have to deal with on a weekly basis.
Listen, people, this hyena almost lost her voice, so about to get it back.
It's amazing. It's amazing. That crowd was fantastic. It was probably the biggest audience in modern spring football. 38,310. Nothing wrong with that. I'm expecting 40,000 for Saturday's game. And there's been a lot of movement as of late, right? A lot of movement going around in the league and stuff, especially with these times and whatnot. I don't know if they've been looking at the ratings lately, but here's my thing, and this is what I'm going to tell everyone. You got to understand that the ratings that they have for this season, all of them, a majority of those games are coming from FX. FX not a big major thing when it comes to sports. They're starting to really get into it now. All right. And so now you're going to see numbers that look, it just looks low. They'll never reach 1 million and that type of bull crap. Listen, this is good for FX because usually they don't get numbers on a Saturday and Sunday like that. That's good for them. And on the Saturday, they had 343,000 for the Brahmas in Seattle game, right? That was at 9 o'clock Central Time, 10 o'clock in the East, all right? 343. And then they had it again at 4:05 on FX with the Houston and Orlando game. Granted, I understand if you see the scores down at the bottom, Houston dominated Orlando. And they had the very first double forward pass that went for a touchdown. All right. Everybody, they didn't have the first double forward pass in XFL history, but they did have the first double forward pass that went for a touchdown. And shout out to AJ Smith and the crew over there in Houston. That is fantastic. It's amazing to see that. And were you able to watch that game, the Houston and Orlando game?
Oh yeah, I watched it.
What you think? You know the Roughnecks.
The fact they scored 20 points just in like the first quarter of the game. I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, but then they allowed them to come back in the second quarter, and we sitting back looking like, what if Orlando messed around and came back and beat?
Here, Jalen Smith had a 31-yard TD. I mean, on the Orlando side. So I did think for a second that they were gonna that they were gonna be back in this, but
of course that didn't happen. That wouldn't happen, man. Come on, because you got to understand, Houston has a complete team, right? And the difference was, they allowed, some big plays. That's been their MO and whatnot. And I know a lot of people looking at DC right now who had a 32-18 win over Vegas. And it's a lot of disarray in Orlando and Vegas. However, I think it's more in Orlando than it is Vegas, right? Because Orlando's dealing with identity crisis. Vegas just having bad luck. A lot of bad luck, right? And so at this rate, Vegas is on the cusp. I think they'll get the first win on this weekend. I think they're gonna pull it out over Orlando. I don't know, Brian. You saying Seattle will expose Houston? Orlando may have done it. Orlando may have done it by allowing the 16 points in the second quarter, allowing all those points. So you never know, but.
Why am I more excited to see Buckley and Woodson together?
Hey, that is literally seriously the game of the week. I know everybody is.
Make me reenact Woodson on the sidelines. Well, make me reenact him right now.
He was hot as fish grease.
Oh, don't make me reenact that.
He was hot because he had every reason to be. If we go back and look at that DC and Vegas game, there were a lot of calls that were questionable, but some of them were the right ones, like the Luis Perez him being short at the goal line. Mm-hmm. And it was like right after that play was made, I think it was Joey Galloway on the telecast was saying that he believed that team was able to line up and get a playoff. That's difficult. 5 seconds is what he had left when the ball was down. So you had to get the entire line up and set before hiking off. You think they were going to get that in 5 seconds? That's difficult. And it's unfortunate that he was at the goal that he was running in for a touchdown and he fell short. I mean, I can understand Rob Woodson's frustration. I can understand how the entire game was bad, and then they had a lot of bad penalties in the game. And it's hard right now to stop DC's rushing attack because you don't know who's going to get the ball. You don't know if it's going to be.
Listen, there was more penalty flags in that Houston-Orlando game than all the XFL games combined.
Yeah,
so just saying, if y'all watched our show with Daddy Ed last week, talking about with Dirty about all the penalties and all that, and how helmet to helmet and
right, all of them.
Like right out of the gate in the very beginning, there was a sketch play in the DC game, but with Teamu. But anyway, that was like the very first play when DC had the ball. But I want to say this too. Shout out to Charleston Rambo for having that 81-yard TD. That was dope.
It was, and that's one of the things about Houston that has been a bit of an issue is that they give up the big play at times, right? And so it's going to be interesting how Seattle this week can look to expose that, do that a little bit deeper, and hopefully, and a lot of people are looking for them to do that greater than what Orlando did, right? And what have other teams have done, because Orlando has done it twice. They've done it twice to Houston, despite them losing both times. They have exposed their defense twice. Now, granted, it was the very first game when Orlando and Houston played, so they were both getting to know each other a bit, right? So you didn't know what was going to come out of that because they've had good drives against them in the past. And so this time they had another big play that was given up. So here's the funny part, Amanda. Orlando scored 16 points this past weekend, week 4, and they lost. Seattle scored 15 points and they won. XFL is crazy, don't you think?
Oh, that's why this is what you should be watching. You're not watching that NFL nonsense. I mean,
and it is true. Orlando is not disciplined right now. And a lot of it's going to be rumors flying out, believing that Buckley won't be back next season. You got 2 years. I say give him another year. Don't make this like what happened in the USFL. This ain't no chicken salad situation here, right? This is not about what happened previous. Right now, it's just the cards that they've been dealt have been bad. That's what it is.
Listen,
their cards have been dealt. Same with Vegas.
And here's the deal. I think a lot of it has to do with the coach's connection with the players. I mean, I'm sorry, but if I'm going to be on a sideline and you're going to cuss me out on the sideline, you think I'm going to want to play that much harder for you?
I mean, but that's how a lot of these players are. That they were rather. I know it sounds crazy. I know I think it was Sports Science that did something like that. That a more aggressive coach was better suited than someone that's more subtle.
But you ain't gonna go in an interview and talk smack on your own players. I'm sorry, but when Buckley came out and he said in that interview that day that he needs to find a new team of players that want to play,
What was wrong with what he said though? Because they weren't playing up to their potential, at least in his mind.
They weren't. But I'm sorry, but from a standpoint of me, you think I'm going to come out and want to work for you 10 times harder after you're going to say that?
You got to prove. You got to prove your worth. You have to prove your worth when you're playing in this league.
Players are going to prove their worth with another team.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. You got to prove your worth if you're gonna be a part of this team. Now, if they're doing it because they don't like what his philosophy is, then that's between players and coach, and they need to discuss that. That's how that needs to go.
There was a time Buckley went up and was saying something to a player, and the player, like plain as day, he looked at him and he goes.
And yes, Battlehawks versus DC really, will be must-see TV. I'm looking forward to that this weekend, and that's at 6:00. At 6:00 on a Saturday. See, look, and it's a Saturday, folks. Y'all can put 40,000 in there, and I think it's a big weekend for St. Louis as a whole because I think the soccer, it's either the soccer or the Blues are playing that same night. So everybody, you're looking at 100,000 potentially people downtown. 80,000 people downtown for this particular day. So
the Blues ain't gonna be.
I know the Blues ain't great right now, but still, my point is that a lot of people are going downtown to see sporting events, and that's fantastic. Yes, and that is also true. See, and the thing is, the difference between those two, Brian, is that Barnow's coaches, his coaching staff, is putting in the right work for them where they're able to succeed. 4-0 right now for Reggie Barlow, and this is his first year as a professional head coach. He has coached in college for a long time, but this job I think that's what made the transition easy for him.
But have you heard Barlow or have you ever heard Buckley or Woodson take accountability for their actions and owning their ownership to what's going on the field?
So you going after Buckley at this case, right?
No. Listen, I'm talking about coaches in general, right? Hines Ward has said in the press conferences, he flat out said, "I take ownership to what is going on with our team." I've not heard that from Woodson, and I've not heard that from Buckley not one time. You can point the finger until the day is long, but I'm sorry. You also have to take your part in the matter too, and I'm not seeing it. So that's just me.
Interesting. No, this is the X-Fan Show, Tuesday edition. I am the A-Train. The professional idiot, has been summoned by his wife to do work. So he's not doing the show today. So joining me from the B-Hawk Live show is Amanda, and we've been talking a bit about what's been going on in the past in week 4, and right now we're sitting with at Seattle. They had their win 15-6. Ben DiNucci, the first quarterback in the XFL, over 1,000 yards. That's terrific. It's fantastic. They're sitting at 2-2 right now. As a matter of fact, as we can look at the standings so far,
and with Pearson being the leading receiver in the XFL, seriously had another great game. Another great game
from Ellison too. You see the standings right there below. DC 4-0, St. Louis 3-1, Seattle 2-2, and Vegas sitting at 0-4. Now it's funny if you look at these standings, right, Amanda?
Mm-hmm.
3 teams won this past week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you look at the XFL South standings. 3 teams lost this past week.
Mm.
Ain't that crazy? But my thing is this:
Houston should be in that category because according this year in itself, that ain't fair.
How? No, okay, all right. If you want to look at how they set up the season, they played against their division opponents, right?
Look at the records. Go back to the other record versus this record.
I understand that. They play all division opponents, right? They play Orlando twice, they play San Antonio, and they play Arlington. Okay.
Well, you're going to set Houston up for success every year if this is how it's going to go.
I don't. You know what? This is what the schedule is set up. It's not Houston's problem that the way that their offense and defense is set up has been phenomenal. All right. And granted, it's not perfect, but it's great. It's not perfect, but it's a great balance.
Yeah.
It is definitely a great balance. And so at this rate of the season, and DC's team is right there and right there with Houston. And because when you look at both the Roughnecks and the Defenders, Houston has a balance offensively and defensively. When it comes to passing and rushing, they can utilize either or, and they will make a big play. Defense, it's either their secondary or their front seven. They are making plays, whether it's sacks, breakups on interceptions, or even making the interceptions themselves. For DC, right now, the rushing attack is better than their passing attack. But when they utilize their passing attack, it's a big play because you don't know what they're being very deceptive on offense, right? And then on the defensive end, same thing. Front seven is fantastic. And their secondary is probably a little bit better than the Roughnecks secondary. Just a little bit. It's like 51-49 or 50.1-49.9. That close, because they play so well together. So right now, those are the two teams that we're looking at. And I know a lot of people are looking at this DC Defender game against the Battlehawks. Right now, I can't call it.
I can.
Hey, listen. I want the Battlehawks more than anything.
We're gonna have the same record as them after this game.
You think so? You think so?
This is, you know how Dirty has his little speculations. Okay, this is
you
a
think
guarantee.
you speculating?
This is a guarantee. This is a guarantee.
You making a guarantee?
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you. I seriously, like, listen, I've watched DC play, right? They're good, okay? But I think that the Battlehawks have way more potential than they've played so far.
And I don't disagree with that, but at the same time, DC has showcased that they can break down offensive lines. Now, that being said, we're in week 5 now, and now more
offensive. Te'amu throws the ball?
Yes.
Te'amu actually throws the ball. That is,
and he can run.
And he throws it for longer than 3 to 5 yards.
Did you not see the 49-yard run that Te'amu had against Vegas, where he just literally took the ball and went straight up the middle?
That is what I'm saying. If the Battlehawks go into it literally thinking that these little 3 and 5 yard passes are gonna work, they're not gonna work.
So you're saying with the Battlehawks, they need to open up the playbook and start going a bit deeper.
But
here's the problem. Here's the problem with the Battlehawks. The Battlehawks has one guy that has speed. Remember, because Coach Beck, when he drafted, he wanted people that had hands. So that means he wanted the 7 to 10 yards and 5 yard outs so they can catch the ball, right? And granted, you got Austin. You have Austin Pro. Austin Pro you can use in the slot. Darius Shepard had a great game this past weekend with 91 yards and a touchdown. Those are the guys you're going to have to utilize. All right.
You can't rely on Butler to do all the work all the time.
And they're not. They didn't. They were able to get Darius Shepard involved. It got a little bit with Austin Pro. That's the thing. They're going to have to utilize them a bit more and start getting them down the field. But that's not Coach Beck's mentality right now. Right now, what he's looking at is making sure we can get the ball down the field as getting first down. If we need to open up, then we'll do that. That's how they're using A.J. McCarron at this case.
You think he's scared to throw because he had that interception in the game, right?
It was ill-advised. Come on. It was ill-advised, and just a big mishap.
Listen, that's
the case with Brandon Silvers in Houston. He'll make ill-advised interceptions. Like, why would you throw that there?
Well, Jonathan Hayes is not here anymore, okay? Quit running the ball all the time.
And here's the thing. You got to utilize your running backs. And Brian Hill had a great game.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Great game. 89 yards on the ground. And you have to use them. That's what you got them there for. It's about a balance. You got to make sure offensively there's a balance between the two. And so, and the defense for the Battlehawks case got a great secondary and definitely a front seven. Travis Feeney on that front seven has been a nightmare. And so, even though they had a sack and just one sack and he had a half one, he's still able to put pressure on the quarterback. That front seven, especially the front four, have been able to put pressure on the quarterback. And that's going to be the difficult part coming up this week against DC. DC has an offensive line where they're not getting to the quarterback. The same can be said for the Houston. For Houston, that's what's going to be the difficult part for Seattle is can they get to the quarterback? Brandon Silvers has not been knocked down a lot. He's still standing up. Same thing for Ben DiNucci. That's what's going to be the test.
Because he moves. He moves.
DiNucci does move, but Silvers does not. How is that the case?
Because they have an O-line.
It's Andre Garrod. Andre Garrod, the offensive line coach in Houston, has done a phenomenal job with making sure that Brandon Silvers stays on his feet. Fantastic job. I got to get to these comments. Most hilarious coach on the live mic was Bob Stoops. Yes, it was. It was hilarious.
It was funny.
Especially when he said, "Oh no," when he saw that Darius Shepard touchdown. Houston has a kryptonite. Yes, they do. And I don't think they're going to remain undefeated throughout the season.
With Kirkland, they might.
You say what? You said with Kirkland?
Yeah, with the Kirkland, they might. He keep doing that robot on the sideline.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think the Battlehawks' chances of beating DC?
You better watch your mouth.
5. All right.
Oh, see, no.
We talked about him. Thank you. We talked about Brian Hill. That's true. We aren't halfway into the season, but guess what? Everybody's talking, and that's a great thing. Everybody's talking about the XFL, and that's what we need to do here. I'm worried about our chances against DC. You should be.
Stay positive.
DC pulls it out in the dog fight. Said dude would be close to leading XFL if he didn't miss first. I guess that's about Brian Hill. I'm not getting cocky. DC is going to be a challenge. Absolutely.
Oh, I'm not.
Defenders going 5-0. Battlehawks are good when they play a full 60 minutes. They only did that last week.
But see, here's the thing with DC.
Butler.
They got something. We have something to fight for with them. You know why? Because we want to have the same. We can go into this with the same record as them if we pull this game off. I mean, if you ain't gonna fight for that, I don't know what. Why would you not?
The offense is made. He's talking about Beck's offense is made for dink and dunk plays. Yeah, because they like yards after the catch.
You talking about Hageman? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, Bill Bear said they could be 4-1. I think they'll start using Shepard more. That'll actually be pretty good if they choose to do that. I saw your cat running around back there.
My damn dog.
Battlehawks are made to stretch the field. DC has a few 2020 Battlehawks, so they know what to expect from the crowd noise. Brian Hill did great. Phillips is a decent second string. Said McCarron blind on his left side, but he was better this week.
He is blind on his left side.
Yeah. And they need to use tight ends more. Best matchups are this week. I can see all 4 games decided by 1 score or less. All right. Got the comments in. Just thinking about those matchups early on, man. Those are definitely going to be interesting matchups. You know, Houston, Seattle, DC, St. Louis, Orlando, and Vegas probably going to be the game of the week to me.
Mm-hmm.
Renegades and Brahmas. I know we haven't talked a bit about the 2 Texas teams. Renegades and Dirty. I remember me and Dirty had talked about it outside of the show, and he was mentioning it to me, and he mentioned it on the Smoking Guns podcast. Make sure you tune into them every Monday at 7:00 Central Time, 8 in the East, 5 in the West. They do a great job. I love that show, especially good job from Phil and Leo and RC, and Jorge will come on from time to time from Viva, Texas. The Brahmas right now, I know they're sitting at 1-3. And granted, they probably should have got a win against the Battlehawks in week 1. They'd probably be sitting at 2-2, tied for second.
I said that yesterday. Had that decision on special teams defense not come in.
Listen,
I don't think that game would have went in our favor.
With the Brahmas have lost 2 of their top receivers. And so it's a bit difficult for them right now to kind of mesh. And I know they like to utilize their running game a lot. They love to utilize it. And so the main thing is you got to get Jack Cohn together, because right now it's shaky for him. Jack Cohn is like Jordan Teamu was in 2020. And what I mean by that is this is his first professional football season. With Teamu, it was like that. However, the difference was they didn't utilize. They're trying to. There's similarities that I keep seeing with them. They need to utilize Cohn's legs a little bit more, get him out of the pocket so he can start making passes on the run. You know, because he has legs. He can use his legs to. He's not much of a pocket passer, and so you could utilize him in the rushing attack. You know, it's just. And I know a lot of people want to see Reed Sinnett play, just like when Arlington got their wish and got Kyle Sloter, right? Both quarterbacks are 1-1 right now.
Sloter that got slaughtered.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and got 3 interceptions and a sack against him. So I don't think Kyle Sloter was ready for that dome crowd either. I don't think he was ready for that. Nope. He said, now I remember seeing him before the game. He said, let's, quiet this 50,000 plus attendance. I get it. I get where he was going with that, but they put Sloter in his place.
But shout out to them though, because they were great with the fans. Like, I was on the visitor side, and you could tell that, like, they were like, y'all's fan base. Like, they weren't denying it. Like, they were like, you guys are loud. Like, I was watching some of the players, and in fact, they were engaging with us while we were playing, which I thought was really cool in a positive way. And
that's the thing. It's about everybody in this league, at least for now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And we touched a little bit on that. And Dirty will talk about it on Thursday a little bit, but he wanted. Look, I'll make his speculation for him. And when the speculation was that the XFL isn't leaving the city of Arlington as headquarters, at least for the next couple of years.
Danny said that in an interview.
They're not leaving. Mm-hmm. They're not going anywhere.
She said because of all the technology there and everything, they want to keep it there.
And this is the norm.
All about what? The safety of the players.
Hey, and I'm impressed. I was grateful to see that it was 38,000 fans. There was some fans in the 400 section, correct, Amanda?
Oh yeah, there was. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I wanted to make sure, because you couldn't see it. You couldn't really see it on the telecast. You couldn't really see it, but
there was more than I thought there would actually be.
Right, and there were at times that place shook.
Mm-hmm. Like this weekend is gonna be even better
because it's a rivalry game.
DC. Mm-hmm.
This is a rivalry game. As a matter of fact,
didn't we scrimmage them?
I don't. There weren't any scrimmages from what I heard
at training camp.
I didn't hear anything, but I heard that the ride back home was quiet for the Battlehawks. Mm-hmm. If you listen to Teamu on the show after that game, it was pretty quiet. So
I still think they should let JJ play this weekend.
And it's unfortunate, that's the problem with having a suspension, but a lot of people not understanding. In the XFL, they have to do it because it's their league and they want to make sure they have a clean game. But having that spirited rivalry, having a rival like that brings attention. It brings attention to the league. It may not be the best attention, but guess what? Attention is attention. And it should bring more people to this week 5 matchup against DC. If you haven't seen the game, get ESPN Plus, go back and watch it, and just go to the end. Just go to the end. Or I would say watch the entire game, because there was a lot of good back and forth, considering that it was a 34-28 victory for DC, is that there was a lot of great plays in that game. and you should expect to see that again come week 5.
But here's what I'm concerned about with DC coming here is that Jordan is used to our fan base. Okay, he's used to the loud. He's used to all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to his game, I don't think it's going to affect him at all. That is the part that is a little bit concerning to me.
I don't know. This time is different because he's going to be. I think they will cheer him when he comes out the tunnel. But the minute that he's out there on the field, all bets are off. Because you're not playing for the Battlehawks, you're playing for the Defenders. But he'll get a nice. I think he'll get a nice reception going into the game. But when the game begins, all bets are off. And I know he's got the mentality. And I won't say I know, but I believe without question that the mentality that he's going to have going into that game is making sure he's getting the victory. He's not caring about the emotion from he might have some. But all he's caring about at this point, going 5-0. And so it's going to be interesting to see how that will play out. I'm like so geeked and excited. It's only Tuesday.
So who are you picking for that? I have to know.
I can't pick today. I got to pick it Thursday.
Oh, see.
Got to tune in Thursday.
You can only pick. You can do one.
No, I can't. I'll have them Thursday. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up. Weirdly enough, me and Dirty did not do too bad in week 4. We can't sit here and say that it was easy either. You can't sit here and say it was easy because you didn't know how San Antonio and Seattle was going to turn up. Didn't know. We get it. Houston and Orlando, DC and Vegas. It's kind of a cinch. You know what I mean? Even though Orlando did give a scare a little bit in the second quarter. And you didn't know how St. Louis and Arlington was going to really turn out. Yeah, that St. Louis did get a victory, but there were times during that game, especially when it was 3-3, it was like, I don't know. But when McCarron threw the touchdown to Shepard, okay, things were moving in stride. Now, it would have been interesting enough if Arlington would have tied the score, then we would have had a game and things would have got interesting. But Battlehawks defense was able to shut that down and hold them to 11 points. So,
I mean, I was a little nervous before. I mean, once that interception happened, I was like, oh, that's the game, ladies and gentlemen. But before that, I still was like on the edge of my seat, like, please, no, don't do this. There's still like a lot can happen in a game with like a minute and 15 seconds left.
Yes. And so and that's very true, Andrew. Rivalries do make football fun. And so, a spirited matchup like DC and St. Louis would be fantastic. I think a lot of eyeballs should be. I know a lot of people were sitting back and saying the game should be on over-the-air television. A lot of people would tune into it. You got to understand this weekend. This weekend they're up against March Madness, okay? All right? You filled your college brackets out yet? You know what I mean? Even if you didn't. Because look, novices, amateurs, beginners can all fill out brackets and win their tournaments. Seriously. They can. It's a possibility. But that's what they're up against is my point.
There's always going to be something on TV that you're going to compete with, no matter what.
And you got to understand that TV viewing these days has changed. We won't know the streaming numbers because those will come out a month later, especially going back to February. We won't know Marches until May, right? And then we won't know from April on until June. So that's I don't think the number, I know the number is over the air. That's the viewership and whatnot. That's fine. But I think it's been respectable, you know, considering what they're up against, right? I think it was, the numbers was DC and Vegas was 605,000, Battlehawks and Renegades at 572. Houston and Orlando was in the 400,000, like 404, I think. And I think the Seattle and San Antonio game was like 330,000 or so. So let's get over that. Let's get over there, okay? I'm not saying that the job they're putting these games on FX. It's great for FX, okay? And it's great for the league.
I will say they did control the language better this last.
I don't know how you can even do that.
I don't know.
I don't even know how you can do that.
I don't know if we did. I don't know if the XFL did something on their end, but all I can say is that it was better this week.
And yes, I understand that the Seattle game was so late, 10:30. Not many people on the East Coast are going to even care about the game. So
that's what DVR is for, people.
Right, because they do count the DVR ratings.
They do count the DVR ratings.
They do count DVR, and like Brian said,
I'm not gonna accept that excuse.
Hulu Live and YouTube TV are included as of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Matt. When you have upsets in March Madness, that brings up ratings. It said, I don't stand all this love for Jordan. In fact, act like he's freaking Isaac Bruce. He played 5 games for us in 2020. It's because that he was the quarterback of the team, you know. And
let me say this.
All right.
There are a bunch of people that want to be in the crowd yelling, Kroenke sucks, Kroenke sucks, stupid, stupid, stupid. Instead, they show 2 or 3 St. Louis Rams players there watching the game. And I'm not telling you, I could have heard a damn pin drop. I'm like, where y'all at? You're clapping, you're not clapping, is you? Y'all wanted Rams to be here so bad and want football, and there's a couple Rams players there. Y'all weren't showing them love when they told them that they were there to watch it.
Oh, they were there? See, yeah. I don't know. I don't even know.
There were 2 or 3 Rams players there watching the game, and they literally showed them up on the screen and even announced it, and I'm not kidding you, it was like maybe 2 people.
You said you could have heard a golf clap.
Yeah, you could. You could have. I'm like, all y'all want to chant that Kroenke sucks, but yet you want to put Rams players up on the screen and ain't nobody paying attention to it. You clearly weren't that as big of Rams fans as everyone makes it seem. So please stop. Thank you.
So you calling out the BS.
I am. It's like, don't do that. Don't do that.
But it's embedded in their brains, man. So it was like, and they said who it was. I was in the bathroom.
And on that note with the bathroom, when the Battlehawks scored that last CD, guess who was in the bathroom?
Oh, so you said you're the reason why they scored?
Oh, you're welcome.
But all in all, still some good games this weekend. Good football. Granted, many of the games were, except Houston and Orlando, was more than 2 scores. So let's see. Seattle and Orlando was 1 score. Let's see. Arlington and St. Louis, that was 2 scores. Yeah, another game was 2 scores. So, not too bad this week.
I think this week, you know how everyone has their little, this week is going to be the most important week, or this week, whatever. We're almost halfway through, people. Like, to me, 5 games, like week 5 is one of the most important. I think this weekend is going to be the most important.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that, especially with the first game, Houston and Seattle. It's undefeated to going against a high-powered offense and seeing how that one can play out. And then you got a rival game with DC and St. Louis, which is woo!
You already know.
Woo! I'm geeked for it. I wish I could be there for it, but I think it's fantastic to watch on television for real. Believe it or not, the game of the week is going to be Orlando and Vegas, the group of 0-4s. Yeah, because somebody got to win. Somebody got to win.
And you know what the best part is? They are going to be ecstatic. Whoever wins, they're going to be like, we ain't 0-4 anymore. We ain't 0-4 anymore. We're finally 1-4. Like, finally.
Come on, y'all. We fighting in the bathrooms. Come on, y'all. You got to do better than that.
Oh, my word.
You got to fight better than that. See, stand guard, Amanda, they saying Orlando's going to win that one. Vegas is going to win. They say it is going to be a good game for all the wrong reasons. Hey, and big shout out to San Antonio. I know they got a big game against Arlington. I think for St. Louis, they're doing Military Appreciation Week.
That's my game of the week besides the Battlehawks and DC game. I think the Brahmas and
Renegades. Because it's going to be interesting because this is a battle for second in the South. If the Brahmas win, they move up to second place. So right now it's Houston's division, and it's not quite the same in the North until week 5. Oh, so they also doing military night. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, we're doing it here.
So you've been watching some of the games on cable? Yes. That's what I'm saying.
You can't watch them, people DVR them because that counts for the rating.
The game.
DVR them. Yes.
Yes. DVR is good, man. 0-4, but gonna stand by. See, that's what I like. That's what I like right there. I like that.
That is a true fan of dedication right there.
Team may not be doing so hot, but guess what? You still right there with them. Listen,
I'm a Viking fan, people. Let me tell you something.
Hey, and Jorge jumped on and said he was a Packer fan. So I mean, we learn about. We learn. See, we got Chiefs fans in here. We got Cowboy fans. We got Packer fans. You got Vikings here. That's this cool thing, man. And we want to see these guys succeed. Said back, Vikings are cursed.
Listen here, tell Rodgers, that little gremlin, to go back in hiding. Is he going to the Giants though?
Who's that?
Rodgers.
No, they were saying the Jets is what they were saying.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and then we got Bears fans, of course. You know what I mean? So a lot of people, NFL fans are enjoying the XFL. That's the big. See, look, Leo's a Bronco fan himself.
And for the record, I'm not happy Peterson's going to the Steelers. Let me just say.
Oh wow! Oh yes! Shout out to General Wilson, who did a great job with the anthem. Always does an amazing job with his anthem stuff. When he does the anthem. That would be great if we could do it again for Saturday.
He did. Can I? Oh.
But see, and that's the thing about what this group is. All NFL fans that like the XFL, that love their XFL that love the XFL teams. There's nothing wrong with having more football here. Especially if the games are decent enough, they are watchable, and you have great plays. And all season long, there has been great plays all over the place.
Do you see the XFL expanding and getting more teams, like adding 2 more teams?
It will be after. I gotta give it 3 to 5, man. 3 to 5 years before they decide to do an expansion. I know a lot of people, and the 3 cities that they're gonna look at, there should be 4.
Why don't we cut 2 of them out and get 2 different ones?
No.
Don't make me tell you which 2 I would get rid of.
Yeah, you got to give it 3 to 5, man. Because listen, if you learn the history about the AFL, the original American Football League, it took 10 years before they get to 10 teams.
Yeah.
But granted, things have changed. Evolution of leagues have changed due to technology and types of buildings that they play these games in and stuff like that. That it can be faster. But in this case, 3 to 5 years probably be the best time before expansion said. We got to get through season 1 first. So people, get on board, get your season tickets, watch these games, get ESPN Plus. It's there. They got all of this together. Danny, that's true. Danny and Jerry both have these expansion plans. Yes, and it was cool to see Ozzie Smith at the game, and he had gave the football away. Yeah, who doesn't want more football? Only people that don't like it. Portland.
The only thing I was disappointed about when I was at the game was when I was doing now granted, I love on-field
experience. Yes, Pigskin Punk, it is getting old. Bashing the ratings is getting old.
Yeah. I love that part, but don't rush me.
Ain't that right? XFL InfoWars. I know he watching.
Huh?
I'm throwing somebody out there because somebody been bashing the ratings all week, each week.
But they were rushing me through, and I wanted to see my man Atkins, which, by the way,
all right,
tune in tomorrow.
I'm gonna make a speculation myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make a speculation myself. It has not been spoken by anybody, but if this person knows what's good from him, he'll show up Saturday. The Rock needs to show up. I believe The Rock is going to show up.
He was at the Oscars. He was at the Oscars.
Listen. The Rock needs to show up Saturday.
Oh, I'm
in
sure
St. Louis.
If I had to guess, I'm sure he will. But...
Show up Saturday, Rock. I think he's going to show up. Now I understand the Oscars and all that jazz, and he was the first presenter and stuff like that. Cool.
Looking dapper.
Cool. My thing is this: if you showing up to these home openers, you need to make the dedication. You jumping on the screen, giving a message out, cool and whatnot. But no, you made an effort to be at each location. Mm-hmm. You made an effort to be there. Do the same for St. Louis. What's wrong with that? All you do is show your face. Fans. Hey, wave to the crowd. Let's go, baby. Do all that, and you could do that in front of them.
Ball out, baby. You better come out and ball out this Saturday then. And be there.
What did you say on the Smoking Guns podcast, Amanda? Brian said you said something.
As far as like the fan experience or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, what I was saying was that the Brahmas, like from the tailgate, from the time we entered the stadium till the time we left, that was by far the best experience I've had. Now, I may have stuck my tongue out at these fans because I was irritated. But they still took it like champs. And I was running outside like a chicken with my head cut off. And they still looked at me and said, y'all deserved it, y'all deserved it, blah, blah, blah. But in the end, like I said, it wouldn't have won that game. Like, we wouldn't have won. In the end, had that decision not been made.
That could potentially happen too.
Look at the stats and look at the numbers.
I hope not. I'm going off a good doctor speculation. Don't be surprised if 2 new teams are added next season. Potentially could happen. It could.
Thank you, good doctor. At least somebody agrees.
Look, Matt is mad at the Rock. Come on, some show up. And thinks he will. All right. I love Ride With Me as our touchdown song. Everyone starts singing along with it. That's great. He said, here's the reason. STL has all the tickets sold. No need to show. I'm hoping the time Portland gets a team, loving year-round football. They should be thanked. Yeah, well, trust me, he definitely thanked them. Yeah, and yes. Did. So we expected 60,000 from both St. Louis and San Antonio. Open up San Antonio's spot too, man. Open it up a bit.
San Antonio was I'm sorry, but to date that was the best experience that out of all the games I've been to, that was by far my favorite.
I cannot lie. I felt like I was in the Dome at America Center when I was in San Antonio. Now, the reason why I say that is because I was looking at the whole inside of the Alamo Dome and seeing how the fans are. And even the seats that I was in 2020, it gave me that effect, And here, and some, I had to, kind of snap out of it when I was realizing I was in San Antonio and not St. Louis. Because that's how I felt. And loud crowd and everything. San Antonio's fan base wants football, and they definitely can bring the crowd to do it. You gotta open it up. You gotta open it up.
And I loved what they were saying on their podcast too last night was basically we're talking about if you're gonna be a fan, be a fan. Okay? Don't be going to one game asking for a refund all because they lost, because don't do that.
I'm gonna say you don't do that when you go to an NFL game. And if you do that at an NFL game, they damn sure not giving you a refund.
Let me tell you something. I paid a lot of money to go see my Minnesota Vikings play against the Browns. And let me tell you, I literally, when I got back to the hotel, this hyena had no voice altogether. No voice altogether. And I saw a loss. And talk about the worst drive home after that. It was terrible. But am I still a fan of theirs? Yeah, people, I can be crazy all day. Y'all can talk smack
so
about the
silly.
Vikings all you want to.
All right, folks. We are at the hour-long hit, and it's time to wrap this bad boy up. Great
Thanks
show
for having me on the
today.
show today.
Thank you, Amanda, for coming and dropping by today. It's kind of cool, calm everything down as we about to wrap it up. B-Hawk live show tomorrow. Might be some special guests. Make sure you
That's
stay
our
tuned for that.
speculation, people.
Might be some special guests from your hometown team. We'll see.
Y'all won't want to miss it.
Yep. Hey, back again on Thursday. Dirty will actually be back, so he'll be unfired.
Ugh.
As long as his wife don't put him on punishment again.
Oh, I hope she does. I would love it.
Hey, it's funny that Dirty put that out there on Twitter, and Battlehawk fans went crazy. You don't tell us how to fan. You don't get to tell us what to do. You don't get to. I'm talking about they face just went like that.
They had both.
Even had news reporters from Channel 4 jumping in. Leave it alone.
Mm-hmm.
For real. Like, why are you here?
Alone.
Leave it. Why are you here? I'm here for the fans.
Fake news.
Leave that alone.
Fake news. Fake
Leave it
news.
alone, yo. All right, y'all. That'll wrap things up. We'll see you on.
Tune in tomorrow
What
at
day is
B-Hawk
it?
Live. You will not want to miss it. Tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, B-Hawk Live. Telling you, people, you're in for a great, 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 big ballin' show.
All right.
Like I say.
Good stuff. Good stuff, Amanda. Thank you again for coming on board and jumping on for Dirty. All right. We'll catch you next time. Thursday, 11 a.m., noon in the East, 9 in the West. Bye.